really useful for people to understand what sort of decisions do they need to make when they're going into something like running your own business. Are there any key decisions at the very beginning that they need to make before getting into it?
Yeah, there are, Hannah. Yes. Get into it for the right reasons, number one.
Yeah.
We've just spoken about that. Number two is probably business setup. So when we're in Australia, business structures are a little bit different, but you got to research them for you wherever you are in the world. But for example, there's interesting things around tax, and tax rates are different between an individual, we call them a sole trader here in Australia, and a company. And the tax rate, what does that look like? And that can significantly reduce the amount of money that you make. The other risk is if you're a sole trader here in Australia and you were to get into some trouble, or you need to pay debt, your personal assets are at risk. So if you own a house, and something happens with a contract and they come asking for more money, you don't have the money in your bank account, they can come for your house. So financially, are you protected through your structure? You also are looking at things like with the company, the other side of that. And ours are quite simple. It's like sole trader, company, and I think partnership. Now, in America, I know there's like LLC and there's like a few different ones. So with a company, you are not personally liable. The company is liable. And if the company doesn't have the money to pay off that risk, well, then that's the end of that kind of at a basic level. But there's just questions you can ask. And all I would say is I'm not across this, but ring a tax agent, actually, that's who you need to ring, an accountant, and just say, this is what I'm thinking of doing. This is the amount of money I think I may make. This is like the assets that I own. These are my circumstances. This is where I'm headed. What would you recommend? And a lot of them in a first phone call of 20 minutes will give you all the answers to help you make a decision around the business structure that you need to set up. Because at the end of the day, they're looking for your future business. So when you need to do your tax returns and all that, or your BAS or the other things that are legislatively required of you, they're going, well, I help them, so they're going to use me as a future customer anyway, and you're basically shopping to see if they're the right fit to serve you for those needs anyway. So just jump on the phone and have a quick call. It's definitely worth getting the right structure for you.
Yeah.
Other decisions that you need to make is, I think a big one that people get hung up on, but it's so minor anyway on the scheme of it, is what do I call myself? Do I call myself Kim Tui? Or do I call myself Belvista Studios? And the thing is, I guess, if you want to be the sole consultant, if you want to be an authority in the space, then you go down the individual name. It is Kim Tui Designs, Kim Tui Solutions, Kim Tui Consulting, whatever. And if you want to have a brand around, where you've got other people under you, like we have a team, so I don't think it'd be that great if you're like, you wouldn't really care as an employee, but there'd still be like a grain of like, if you were working for Kim Tui Consulting. Whereas if you're working for Belvista Studios, like it has a different feel. And I always intended to have people working with me in a team. So having a think about that. And also, like, if you wanted to sell your business in the future, if it's tied to your name, then that's a little bit weird. But yeah, so I think with the name though, what is annoying is, and it's so unnecessary, and I just urge you, pick a name, because at the end of the day, it's just a jumble of letters that means nothing to the market, nothing to your customer until you make it mean something. So don't get emotionally connected to it, because right now it is nothing. And unless you have this brand already, you're known as this person that's an expert on gamification, that's your brand already, then start your business with that name. But if you're just starting out and you don't really have a following, or you don't have a client base, you are nothing. The market knows nothing about you. So pick a jumble of letters and make it mean something. And all you have to do is look at the brands around the world that we're nothing. Like, when did we ever use the word Uber in our sentences? No one walks around and does that, but it was a word that exists. when did we ever go around and be like, oh, it's a Google of whatever, you know, like we don't. And we don't even associate Google as like, the word Google means like a really high number, like million or trillion, but we don't associate that with that. We just associate it with the internet search provider. So don't get hung up on it. Like, these big brands created their name and made meaning out of it through their journey, and you will have the same journey. So just pick a name, go register it, because that's going to hold you back.